أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون صدق الله العظيم.
الحمد لله الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may He have mercy on us. We as humans have a certain nature. We are affected by the things that we are around, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put emotions inside of us, and based on these emotions we react. Some sort of action is happening outside in our surroundings, in our environment, and then our body, our emotions, our feelings, our mind, it all responds and reacts to a certain way based on what we are noticing around us. So every action basically has a reaction within us. Either it is something that you express or not. So your surroundings, the environment that you create, even if a person is around animals, one develops those characteristics from the animals. And for example, if a person spends their time a lot with goats, they tend to be more humble. If a person spends their time with horses, they tend to be more brave. If a person spends their time with camels, they tend to be more stubborn. And if the effects of animals also puts characteristics within a person and makes them express those characteristics in that person in that way, if even animals can do so, then what about other people? What about the people that we surround? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave us a very good example, a very understandable way to explain why our company is very important. Who we keep around is very important. He stated that being in good company or having pious friends is like being inside a perfume store. If you are inside a perfume store, if you just walk into the perfume store, you sit down in the store, you are already inside this surrounding of perfume, of the scent of perfume, and you are bound to have an effect of that perfume as you walk out. Even if you just sit there for a little bit, let's say you sit there for about 30 minutes or an hour, you are going to come out smelling a little bit different. You will come out smelling a little bit like perfume or the mix of perfumes that are in the air. And if you decide to become even more interactive. You tend to be even more friendly, and you go up to the person who owns the perfume store, who is selling the perfumes, and you go and talk to them. You become more friendly with them. You have a relationship that develops with them. Maybe, just maybe, that person is going to give you a perfume as a gift, or at least put on perfume on you. And so this is like the time that we spend amongst pious people. If we spend our time amongst pious people and we don't even interact with the pious person, in the environment that we have put ourselves in, we already have made an impact in our lives, even if we did not intend for it. But if a person decides to go and be more interactive, for example, like you're in the company of your sheikh and you go up to the sheikh and you talk to the sheikh, you tell the things, your situations, your feelings, and your progress to your sheikh, what impact is that going to make? It's as if they are putting perfume on you or giving you an entire perfume. And that is how Rasulullah ﷺ has explained to us how being inside perfume store is so similar to how we should have our company, how we should have a good company. It definitely affects us. On the contrary, one's time with bad and sinful people is like sitting next to a coal-burning fireplace. If you sit next to the fireplace, if you are really close to the fireplace, in fact, if you are so close that you actually get inflamed, the fire that's inside the fireplace is also on you, then you have spread this fire. You have spread the bad. The sins have been spread, and you yourself are the fire. You can actually go and inflame others as well. But let's say you decide to be a little bit further back, right? In which you don't actually catch the fire, right? But at least the heat of the fire you feel. You can feel the warmth. You can feel the fire around you in your surroundings. And you might even be more attracted to the fire that you want to be even closer. But then let's say you decide to be even further back and you don't even feel the heat, but you are in the same room as this fireplace. Maybe the wind will come through the chimney and blow some of the ashes, the coal that's in the fireplace onto you. And just like that, your clothes are now dirty. Your body is now dirty and has these black marks on it now. Similarly, if one's time is with sinful people or with bad people, you are going to be affected. Either you are going to be fully inflamed, or at least you'll get some mark on you. That is the company of sinful people with you, or rejectors, the non-Muslims. That is the company that we would have. Living in Western countries and in society that is run by disbelievers, that have majority disbelievers, we need to be very careful as to who we call our friends. We can't just call any disbeliever, anybody who is rejecting the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or is making partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making associations with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or even to the level who are sinful people, we should stay away from them. Sometimes we should not even call them friends because they are going against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so we cannot call the disbelievers our friends. How would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala see us if we are becoming friends with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's enemies? Right? How would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is all powerful and all just, how is he going to view us? What is going to be of us on the day of judgment, on the day of resurrection? What is going to be of us in the grave? So we have to be very careful as to what we say, what we do, and who we keep around us, who we make our influence on us. So going to school or work in a Western society, it just gives us new troubles, just like this. And we may not even be able to understand what's going on around us. Even the company of some Muslims may impact us negatively in school or at work. You know, sometimes when I was in high school, at least, there were some people who were Muslims around me, but they gave me the hardest time. They made me try to stay away from Islam the most. Sometimes some of you guys might also understand this, but family sometimes can be a big hindrance for your growth in Islam. your growth through spirituality, your growth to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so I'm not saying that you have to disconnect yourself from your family, but you have to at least maybe limit your interactions with them at least. You have to protect yourself. But I'm not saying to do qata rahmi, I'm not saying to disconnect yourself. That is definitely a very wrong thing. In fact, it is so wrong that even the night of Qadr, the night of power, is not a promise on you anymore. So we have to be very careful. We also need to understand that the evil eye is a fact. The influence of the evil eye is a fact. In the hadith, a companion of Rasulullah ﷺ placed their evil eye on another companion, and it caused an effect to occur. So the companions came to Rasulullah ﷺ, in which Rasulullah ﷺ responded by saying, Al-aynu haqqun, meaning the evil eye is fact. Even one's evil eye can have a negative impact on a person. And so Shaykh Zulfikar Sahib Damat Barakatum explains to us that if a negative sight, if an evil eye can influence a person and cause something to happen, then why can't someone who is sincere, kind, loving, and putting a sight of kindness, of sincerity, of positivity on a person, why would that not impact that person? That person will definitely be impacted. And that person will also exchange that love and feel the love at least from their elder, from their sheikh. And inshallah, that love is going to be, but will cause the person to grow as closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this sight is from the sight of awliya. And so if we are amongst the company of our mashayikh, of our sheikh, we will definitely have a positive impact on our lives. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us, O those of Iman, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make your company with people who are honest. Honest people are generally good people, and they will have a good impact on us. And we will also know and trust them in our growth. If there's a person who is a liar, who's a person who cheats and does these wrong things, and you are entrusting your life on them, or at least your development on them, you are definitely doing a wrong thing, and you are falling into a big trap. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from such conditions in our lives. So what is the company of the awliya on us? What is the influence, right? So spending time with our shaykh will change our heart forever. It will, in fact, we already know that our heart will actually be revived. When I say heart, I mean your soul. So your soul will be revived. You have a dark soul, it's hardened like a rock, and your shaykh comes and puts the jaliyat on it, the wajuhat on it, and it is revived. And it is now up to us to continuously work on our heart so that it remains with light. It does not have darkness again. It remains with nur. So in the Naqshbandi silsila, in our curriculum in Naqshbandi, one is actually to a certain level required to spend time amongst pious people and especially their sheikh. So your time amongst your pir bhai, amongst the people of the Jamaat, your sheikh, listening to the bayanat, listening to what the sheikh has to say, either in private with you or in public. So this is all very, very important. So there are also many people who hear about this sheikh, who hear about a sheikh and say that they want to ask so many questions to the sheikh. And they basically want to interview and interrogate the sheikh. But when they actually end up meeting the sheikh, the love and the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is expressed from the sheikh to that person, and then they forget all their questions. This happens so much. So this is what the company of awliya do to us. Another example, another analogy is the, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbid it, but if one is diagnosed with cancer, right? Doctors have multiple ways to treat that cancer, right? Now, there are two main ways of treating the cancer. So one way is with pills, such as chemotherapy, which is a regimen that could last months to years, right? So if a person is continuously getting chemotherapy, that is one way of treating the cancer, right? Another way to treat a cancer is to surgically remove the cancer. Another way would be to also radiate. If you can't surgically remove, you can at least radiate. Now, radiation or surgical removal, these types of ways of treating is very instantaneous. It does not take the months to years that chemotherapy takes. So in order to get that desired result for chemotherapy, it takes a very long time as compared to surgically removing, which is very, very instantaneous, right? So similarly, if one is to spend time in the sohbah, in the company of their shaykh, versus someone who on their own do their azkar and don't stay in the company of their shaykh at all, it is similar as if a person continuously do azkar, that eventually, it's described that they're doing azkar like rain is being poured, like very torrential rain. Now, if a person does azkar like that, then maybe after many, very long time, many years, maybe many months, maybe they will achieve the same result that a person who has spent a little bit of time in the company of that shaykh or that person. Sometimes if a person even does that much zikr, they still cannot achieve the level that a person would if they were just in the sohbah. And they achieve that sohbah very quickly, and they are also relieved from their sins sooner. So one way you can understand this is that if a person is in the company of good people, they are encouraged by peer pressure, positive peer pressure, to continue to do good things. And if your company is also telling you, stay away from sins, to stay away from bad, then you are also encouraged through this positive peer pressure again to also relieve yourself from these sins. And so, similarly, when a person is in bad company, if a person is in sinful company, they tend to do things that they feel like they would never have had done. And that is because they are in that company. They are being promoted to do that. And so we need to be very careful with our company, and it is very important to be in the sohbah of our shaykh. Hazrat Shah Waliullah Muhaddas Delvi rahimahullah, he explained that there are two ways to purify impurities from the ground, right? So one way is if there's so much precipitation, so much rain, that it just washes the impurity away from the floor, from the ground. Another way is if the sun is so strong, like for example in the desert, the sun is so strong that it basically removes any trace, either color or smell, away from the entire area. So it completely cleans it up. So if one spends time with their shaykh, it is like getting the rays, like the sun rays, but of tawajjuhat, and it will instantly cleanse the impurities. If the precipitation is happening, right, it has to happen for a very long time before the impurities completely go away. And then it has to dry up too for the impurity to actually go away. But if a person is in the company of the shaykh, it's like there's sun rays coming on them of tawajjuhat, and it is so much more quicker and is so much more stronger in terms of cleansing. What is the importance of our sohbah in the Naqshbandi curriculum? That is a very important question. What is the role of the company that we keep around us in the Naqshbandi curriculum? And so there is a huge importance of the company that you keep. And actually the company of your Shaykh specifically is extremely important in the Naqshbandi curriculum. In fact, there are certain levels that one can only achieve just because they have to be in the company of their Shaykh to achieve those. So we should also pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we stay in this company, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give our Shaykh a very long life so that we can take benefit from our Shaykh. And in fact, if one prays to stay in the company of their Shaykh, to stay in the company of good people, then they will achieve everything else as well. They will not just achieve the getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they will achieve everything else. They'll achieve paradise, they'll achieve happiness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they'll achieve piety, they'll achieve their family are also going to be pious. So this is very important for us. Hazrat Khwaja Ubaidullah Ahrar rahmatullah, he was a very renowned Shaykh, and he was so renowned that he even had the kings of the time as his students, as his salik. So he actually said that if I were to spend time doing this, meaning doing the work of silsila, of the curriculum, then no Shaykh will have any students. And so he said that he has a different purpose to live. He has a different purpose in his life, and that is to revive and follow the Sunnah of Rasulullah. So this was Hazrat Ahrar rahmatullah. Maulana Jami rahmatullah, he heard of Hazrat Ahrar rahmatullah and how renowned he was as a Shaykh. And so he decided to go and do bayat, to do pledge under him. So when he was traveling towards his Shaykh's Khanqah, right? And when he reached to the Shaykh's Khanqah, he saw so much worldly and materialistic things. And so he said, based on that one is not a man who makes the materials of this world his friend. And so Maulana Jami rahmatullah, he turned around and then he left without even meeting Hazrat Ahrar rahmatullah. And in his journey back, Maulana Jami rahmatullah, he wanted to rest a little bit. And when he rested at a masjid. And he actually went to sleep, and then he dreamt. And in his dream, it was the day of Qiyamah, right? And there was a lot of chaos and a lot of selfishness. And so Maulana Jami rahmatullah also started looking around here and there until he saw a huge crowd come towards him, right? So he asked those people, "Who are you people?" And then they responded, "We are those who are on the right path." And then someone said, "You did backbiting against me, and you hurt my feelings. Give me what is right on me." So he wanted to get some payback. He wanted to get what he deserved. And so these people who are asking what they deserve, there were so many of them that Maulana Jami rahmatullah was giving out all of his good deeds. And then still, after he had completed giving all his good deeds, the people were still asking, and there were still so many people who were still asking him. And so Maulana Jami rahmatullah became very worried. You have to understand, this is the day of Qiyamah, and there was so much chaos and selfishness. And so he started getting worried that, oh, I have no more good deeds. There's nothing left. I have nothing to give. I have nothing to show. If there ends up being measuring of my deeds, then I have nothing to show to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so he was very worried, and he didn't understand how he could get out of this, which made it even worse for him. So in all this, he then saw Hazrat Ahrar rahmatullah on a horse with hundreds of thousands of people behind him, and they were all passing by him. So when Hazrat Ahrar rahmatullah, he saw Maulana Jami rahmatullah, and then he stopped his horse. And then he asked, "Oh Maulana, what are you worried about?" And Maulana Jami rahmatullah responded that there are too many people asking me for their right, but I don't have enough good deeds. And so Hazrat Ahrar rahmatullah, he then responded, "Give him some of our good deeds." And then Maulana Jami rahmatullah's eyes opened, and then he realized that he would definitely benefit a lot from Hazrat Ahrar rahmatullah. Maulana Jami rahmatullah was also a very renowned alim, and he was a very strong alim. And so from this dream, he did understand the realities. He understood that he will go, if he were to go to Hazrat Ihrar, he will have a lot of growth. He will have a lot of progress, and he will have a lot of benefit from Hazrat Ihrar. And therefore, based on this understanding and based on this dream, he then returned back to Hazrat Ihrar Khanqah. And then he went and he shook hands with Hazrat Ihrar. He talked with Hazrat Ihrar, and he met Hazrat Ihrar. And so when he did, Hazrat asked Maulana, "What did you say the first time you came?" Now, if this sheikh was just a sheikh who focused on worldly things and materialistic things, then how can he have this connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he fully had kashf, that what Maulana Jami Rahmatullah had said. Maulana Jami Rahmatullah didn't even say it out loud. Nobody heard him. And Maulana Jami Rahmatullah, this was something of his heart. Hazrat Ihrar Rahmatullah had kashf, and this was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened it to Hazrat Ihrar Rahmatullah. Maulana Jami Rahmatullah was very ashamed of this. And then he responded, "It was a mistake. Looking at all the material just made me think that you are a worldly person. And so I said, one is not a man who makes the materials of this world his friend." Hazrat Ihrar Rahmatullah, he responded by saying, "If you have material, then it should be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for your own temptations." So this is the company of your sheikh. Now, in this day and age in which generally normal average person in a Western society lives better than some of the kings of the past, and then we say, "Oh, we don't have enough material," or how are we going to stay away from the effect of material? So we have evidence that mashayikh, even today and back in the day, they had this worldly materials, and they were still able to have a strong connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Mujaddid al-Afsani rahmatullah alayh, he said in his maktubat that when one's bodies are close physically, then the hearts are also close. That is why no one has been able to achieve the level of a Sahaba. We cannot have that connection of physically being there with Rasulullah anymore. Rasulullah has moved on. He has passed away. And so we don't have that ability to even meet Rasulullah. So the Sahaba have achieved a status that now we can never achieve just based on the company. So even though there are awliya, there are friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who spent so much time doing good deeds, they have not been able to achieve the level of the Sahaba. And now, what is our role? What is our responsibility as students of our Shaykh? Now, we have to convey our feelings. We have to tell our Shaykh without any hesitation, that what we are feeling inside, what are the halat, what is the hal, what are the situations within our own soul. And so we have to convey and communicate this and entrust our Shaykh. Now, if we were to, for example, tell our Shaykh half the story, half the dream, or just the good part of the story, of the situation, our Shaykh will know through kashf that the person is lying or there's something missing. But the Shaykh won't know anything if you don't convey anything to the Shaykh. But if you are to convey it fully and don't have any hesitation. Don't cover it up with certain things. Tell the full truth to your Shaykh, because the Shaykh will know. And if the Shaykh finds out through kashf that you are not giving the full story, then there already is a divide between you and the Shaykh. So you have to be very careful. This is part of the respect of the Shaykh, that you are to convey and communicate with your Shaykh without any hesitation and in a complete manner. And then one could ask, why is the Shaykh even feeling this through kashf? Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opening my situations in front of the Shaykh? Isn't everyone, doesn't everyone have a hijab in front of each other so that we don't introduce our flaws to each other? Isn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protecting us in that manner? But you have done a pledge, you have done bet, and you have done a bet to better yourself. And in addition to that, you have made dua in your namaz, you have read Surah Fatiha, you have recited Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, that, oh Allah, put me on the straight path. And now this is the acceptance and the response to your dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us on the straight path. Ameen. So it's very important for us to not have any hesitation between yourself and your Shaykh, right? Some are scared to tell the Shaykh. Why are you scared to tell the Shaykh? What is causing you to feel this hesitation? So this is caused by shaitan. Shaitan is creating this nervousness, this hesitation between you and your Shaykh. And you cannot let shaitan win. You cannot let shaitan overwhelm you. And you have to prevent shaitan from limiting your growth, limiting your progress in this curriculum. This is one of the battles. This is one of the fights that you have to do within yourself. So we cannot fall into the trap and the ideas of shaitan. Our mashayikh, they have stated that we progress in our curriculum, in our Naqshbandi silsila, through two things. One is by following the sunnah of Rasulullah, and the other is by staying in the company of our shaykh and love our shaykh. The most benefit that someone can have being in the company is by being in the company of their shaykh. One progresses very rapidly in the company of their shaykh. So actually, one can go even further and say you cannot even achieve certain levels if you are not in the company. So it is very important for us to have this good company of our shaykh. And then now, what do? I tell you that we should not have any hesitation with our shaykh. So before one does their pledge, they in a way vet the shaykh. They want to make sure that the shaykh is complete in their form. They're not a phony shaykh. Now, if you have full trust in your shaykh that this is a proper shaykh, this is a real shaykh, this shaykh has worked very hard in their life, there's a full sanad behind the shaykh, shajara behind the shaykh. Now you have created this, you have this connection with this shaykh. Now you have to let yourself go. And in fact, you have to surrender yourself to the shaykh. You are the slave of the shaykh at that point. And so we have to fully entrust ourselves to our shaykh. It is described that you have to entrust yourself the way a dead person entrusts themselves or surrender themselves to the person who is washing them. Because your shaykh is cleaning you, is purifying you. You are in that process and you have to trust the process. And so if the shaykh pushes you right, you go right. If the shaykh pushes you left, you go left. So this is how we have to be. Now, what is the role? What is the status that our shaykh has? What is the role and responsibility that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on our shaykh? Now, one can explain this by understanding a few things before. Who gives one a baby? So we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a baby, but the medium is our parents, right? So you and your spouse is a medium for your own child, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gives you the child. Now rain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives rain, but what is the medium for the rain to come? That is the clouds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this system, and now for us to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have the faiz, to have the nur, the light, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us our shaykh as our medium. Another way to understand this is that your parents are very important in your life, but your Shaykh is also very important. Now, the medium for one to come to this world is through your parents. You come from the skies and you come down to this world through your parents. And now how can we get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And that medium is our Shaykh. From this world to the skies, that is our Shaykh. Now, why do our kafiyat, why aren't our feelings constant, right? This is weakness within our own heart. If we continuously work on this weakness, then we will have these feelings consistently. Now, there are a few things that we need to make sure that we add and remove in our life. So if we have to stay steadfast on the deen, we have to stay doing the good deeds, we have to do our lessons. The second thing we need to do is that we need to remove ourselves from doing any sins in our life. If we stop doing that, the sins continuously mess up our good deeds, right? And our good deeds are what is presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Our bad deeds are also presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the sins will continuously wipe away our feelings inside, the kafiyat inside. And our kafiyat help us stay motivated in doing zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the company is extremely important. Having that suhbah with your shaykh helps us stay on the deen and helps us stay away from sins. There's a story of Hazrat Wahshi radiallahu ta'ala an. And Hazrat Wahshi radiallahu ta'ala an, he had killed Hazrat Hamza radiallahu ta'ala anhu in the battle of Uhud. Hazrat Hamza radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a very close uncle to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah was very sad when he heard that he has already passed away. And so when the time of the Meccan conquest happened, Hazrat Wahshi, he knew that if he were to come in front of Rasulullah, he will definitely command the death penalty. And so Hazrat Wahshi, he had decided that he will sneakily come from behind and then say the kalima, so that he can accept Islam. And so Hazrat Wahshi did exactly that. He sneakily came behind Rasulullah and he said the kalima. Rasulullah, he turned and he saw Hazrat Wahshi and said that you did recite the kalima and you did accept Islam, but if you were to come in front of me again, I will be reminded of my uncle. And if my heart is hurt again, I don't want you to be harmed, and therefore go away. Rasulullah said, go away, meaning never return. So for the rest of Hazrat Wahshi life, he did not come in front of Rasulullah, but he did stay in the company of Rasulullah for the moments that he was there. And then he also accepted Islam. He said the kalima. Now he is a Sahaba. He's a companion of Rasulullah. So even a Tabi'i, a very strong Tabi'i like Hazrat Awais Qarni rahmatullah, he even couldn't achieve the status that Hazrat Wahshi achieved just because of the company. So that suhbah is very important, and it's fully part of our curriculum. We need to really understand this. Now, the importance of the companionship is seen in the Naqshbandi curriculum in the context of Kamalat al-Nabuwwat. So Kamalat al-Nabuwwat was a very high status that the most highest status that was achieved in Kamalat al-Nabuwwat by a person was Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala is the first person after Rasulullah in the shajara of our Naqshbandi curriculum, right? Of our Naqshbandi silsila. And he reached a height of Kamalat al-Nabuwwat. Why? Because he was so close to Rasulullah and he spent time in Ghar Thawr, and he was following the sunnah of Rasulullah fully. He was like one with Rasulullah. So it is very important for us to achieve that level. Of course, not the level of Abu Bakr Siddiq, but the Kamalat al-Nabuwa lesson by the company of our Shaykh. And so it is actually mandatory for us to be in the company of our Shaykh and tell the Shaykh about our situations. Many say that, oh, I'm going to achieve something through struggle, through mujahidah, but it's not necessary to go through so much mujahidah if you can accelerate the progress through the company of your Shaykh. Now, Hazrat Wahshi, he wasn't even Muslim, and he spent time with Rasulullah. He did no struggle. In fact, he had killed his uncle, of Rasulullah's uncle. So he did not do any struggle, but he achieved a status that we can never achieve. And so if you are to put precedent, if you are to put something that is more important than the other, the company of your Shaykh is much more important than struggle and mujahidah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of our efforts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give our Shaykh a very long life so we can spend so much time in the company of his nur, of his tawajjuhat, that we can progress very rapidly and quickly. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to take full benefit from our Shaykh. Ameen, ameen, thumma ameen, wa akhiru da'wana, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Let us make dua. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Kareem. Ya Allah, forgive all of our sins. Ya Allah, forgive all of our sins. Ya Allah, we have done so many bad deeds, Ya Allah. We have done bad deeds in private, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we have done bad deeds in public, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, different parts of our body have done different bad deeds, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, we are amongst the sinners, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we are amongst the worst of people, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we have no way of succeeding except through your mercy, Ya Allah. We cannot enter Jannah without your mercy, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, if you were to start measuring our deeds, Ya Allah, we are indeed going to fail, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, please allow us to go into Jannah without any calculations, without measuring, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, have mercy on us. Ya Allah, in front of everybody on the day of judgment, Ya Allah, don't let anybody see our bad deeds. Ya Allah, don't let anybody see how dirty we are, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, forgive us from all our sins. Forgive all of our bad deeds, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. We are so weak, Ya Allah. Our prayers are so bad, Ya Allah. We have no feelings in our hearts, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, our elders did so many good deeds. Ya Allah, they did such quality deeds, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we're going to be standing next to them on the day of judgment. Ya Allah, we don't even know how to ask you for forgiveness, Ya Allah. How are we going to pray in front of you, Ya Allah? Ya Allah, we don't even know how to do something so simple as to ask for forgiveness, to ask for what we want. Ya Allah, we don't even know or do what what we need in our lives, what we want in our lives, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, just put us on the right path, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, just grab us and put us on the right path, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Allah, in a few weeks, Ya Allah, there are going to be many hujjaj traveling towards your house, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, accept us to come to your house as well, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, allow us to also come to your house, Ya Allah, and allow us to do quality deeds over there, Ya Allah. We want to also do the tawaf, Ya Allah. We also want to run in sa'i, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we also want to drink zamzam, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we also want to wear the 2 cloths, Ya Allah. We also want to wear ihram, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we also want to look at the Kaaba, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we also want to do our 2 nafal behind Maqam Ibrahim, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Allah, we also want to stay in Mina. We also want to stay in Muzdalifah. We also want to throw pebbles at Shaitan, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, we want to stand in Arafah and we want to pray to you, Ya Allah. We want to ask you for forgiveness on that day, Ya Allah. But Ya Allah, Ya Allah, we can only go if you have called us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, please call us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, give us this opportunity, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, For those who are going this year, Ya Allah, allow us to be remembered in their du'as, especially on the day of Arafah, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, allow us to enter the Jannatul Firdaus, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, allow us to be in the company of Rasulullah Sallallahu. Ya Allah, allow us to be in the city of Rasulullah Sallallahu. Ya Allah, connect us with our Shaykh. Ya Allah, connect us with our Shaykh on the Day of Judgment so that we can be connected to the best of people, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Allah, we want to do zikr to you, Ya Allah. We want every single part of our body to be doing zikr to you, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we want every single bone, every single flesh, every single cell to be doing zikr to you, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Increase our amount of zikr, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we want to be doing zikr even when we are sleeping, Ya Allah. We want to achieve the wuquf qalbi, Ya Allah. We want to achieve the faiz and nur from the zikr, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we want to achieve 24/7 zikr, Ya Allah, and without any difficulty, Ya Allah. We want to love you, Ya Allah. We want to truly love you, Ya Allah, but we are not worthy, Ya Allah. We don't even know, Ya Allah, how to love you, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, give us the opportunity to love you, Ya Allah, and love Rasulullah Sallallahu, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we have Quran in our homes, but it only stays in the home. It collects dust on the shelves, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, allow us to open and read the words that you have told us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, forgive all of our sins and allow us to go through hardships and difficulties with ease, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, allow us to pass through difficulty and hardship in patience, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, people who are sick, Ya Allah, give them health, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, people who are going through difficulties, Ya Allah, give them ease, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, people who have anxiety and tensions in their lives, Ya Allah, give them relief from that, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, people who have difficulty in their homes, Ya Allah, give them relief, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, people who have difficulty financially, Ya Allah, give them relief, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, people who have difficulty mentally, Ya Allah, physically, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, relieve everybody from all their hardships, from all their difficulties, Ya Allah. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. جزاكم الله خير. Inshallah, we will continue our program inshallah next week. We are still a little bit unsure as to whether I'm going to do it or someone else. So please stay on the lookout on the group chat, Becoming Closer to Allah. Yeah, and we are also uploading these programs on YouTube. Our YouTube name is Tawabin Youth. Everybody is requested to subscribe, inshallah, and also share it with others. So Jazakumullah khair for attending. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.